Hello guys, this is Tanya from Art East Zone, and today we are going to make the inserts for the Traveler's notebooks. I have another video already done where I talk about how to make the cover and how to make how to put the elastics in order for you to do all the partitions for it and so forth. But I also talked about how I was going to make a video how I create the different kinds of inserts. And as far as the inserts go, they can be either a regular folder that you will place there, or you can create one of these to make it sort of like a notebook cover or an agenda book cover inside the Traveler's notebook itself. So for today, the supplies that you will need your cutter and scorer. You will need your chomper, your corner chomper. You will also need an Exacto knife, and I use glue stick. You can use whatever adhesive you feel more comfortable with. I like this one because I only put a little bit, enough for it to stay in place until it goes through the laminating machine. Otherwise, I don't like the wrinkles of a wet adhesive, and I don't like the fact that with the double-sided tape you can see the tape once you laminate it. You will also need laminating pouch and of course the laminator. I have a regular Scotch laminator from Walmart, I believe, and I purchased the laminating pouches from Amazon. I will put the link for that under the description. So today we're going to create 3 different inserts. The 3 styles that I normally go to, even though I do kind of like to play with them a little bit, whatever mood I'm in. I like the side pocket, and I like these because then I can place my clips that I make individually for each book. But you can, of course you can use it to put any papers or anything in there. And this one I will normally use it as a regular folder. You can also make the standard shape folder slots. And this one, you can play with the size or the width of it, and of course the sharpness of this cut right here. You can kind of play with that. It's all about preference of how you like it or what mood you're in. And then we'll also create a regular rectangle pocket. I like to do this one or one more narrow in the front of it. So this will be the front of the cover, and this one I like because then I can place a long-standing bookmark in it. I'm sorry, I get a little tongue-tied. Sometimes I talk English and Spanish all together in my head. But we'll go ahead and we'll create 3 different styles. All right. So for the first one, I'm gonna go ahead and use my 12 by 12 stock. And this one is double pattern. I like the fact that this one's thicker because I can put this one as a standalone. If the pattern paper that you choose is very thin, then those will be more appropriate for like a notebook cover instead of a folder, because it would just be too flimsy. If you do have a paper that is solid, so for example we'll use, oh, I just dropped something. We'll use this one, which is just like a off-white, and this one is just basic. And the reason I chose a solid color is because then I can decorate it with a different colored tab to give it a pop of color. But again, you can use whichever paper and whichever size for the inserts. You can actually use the regular standard 11 by 11.5 by 8.5 because it will give you enough room for it, unlike trying to do it for the cover. So for the inserts, a regular cover or a regular Traveler's notebook, I normally do it 11.25 by 7.25. For the purpose of the inserts, we're gonna go at 10.25 because you do want them to be a little smaller than the actual cover. Otherwise, once you laminate it, it will actually extend outside of the cover. With this size, it's pretty much flushed. And we'll go at 7.25. For the length. All right, so this is the outside, I like to go ahead and use my chomper. I'll do it afterwards though. You cut the corners prior to laminating it. And so for this one, this will be the inside. Let me go ahead and do this now. You're gonna go at 5 and what is that? 5 1/8, I believe it is. And we're gonna go ahead and score it. And as you can see, this will be the outside, and that looks really pretty. But I feel like now this side is too plain, so I want to go ahead and bring one of these colors out and bring it inside. So for this one, I'm actually going to use the red to make it stand out. And now, so this is the part where you can kind of play with what's the width that you want. So we know this is about 5 1/8. You can do it the same size. I like it shorter, so I go and do it at 3 1/2. And I'll make 2 of them. Now with this one, the pattern is actually on this side. This part is smooth, and so if you have, let's say, the pattern, the colors on this side, you want to put them face to face with each other because they're going to be the opposite. And we are actually going to use one, let's do 1/4 this way, right? So on this side, on the left side of the mark, I'm going to go ahead and do 1/4 there. And now I'm just going to score that portion there, and that's where I'm going to put my adhesive. Now for the sharpness, I could give you measurements, but I don't like to, because there's times when I might actually just want to do a little dog ear real quick, just a small one, and that's fine. Other times I'm in the mood to make it a little sharper, and I might go from this corner over to where the adhesive is at. So this one, I'm not going to give you specifications. You do however you wish to do it. Because we have both of them together, you don't have to necessarily worry about the angle of it and whether it's going to be equal to the other one, because we're cutting them both at the same time. And of course, I did not go all the way through. And I should have done it. Alright, so normally I do 2 swipes, but I messed that one up. So, okay. So now I have my both sides of the folder, and the score mark, again, I don't necessarily fold it. I just have it for myself as a guideline of where I'm going to put the adhesive. So we're going to put that one to the side because I make mine in bulk. We're going to go ahead and do this other tab, and we're going to do, again, 10 1/4. And 7 1/4. Okay, and we are going to go at 5 1/8. And we're going to score it. For this one, I'm going to do the long tabs. So, so here I have another one with a really pretty pattern that I kind of want it to stand out. So now what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to cut, and I want it still at 3 1/2. In width, because I'm going to make this one actually a little bit wider than the other one. So no, actually no, let's go at 3. Let's go at 3. trying to decide if I want to go ahead and cut it or make it smaller now. Yeah, let me do that first. Hold on. Let's go this way. Just because I'm trying not to waste so much paper. And with the little scraps that I get, I sometimes make the bookmarks or the clips out of there. So I can use this as a clip later. All right, there we go. So that was 7.5 because it's gonna be the same length as the entire folder, and we're gonna go at 3 in width. And I'm gonna make 2 of these. And I'm gonna go ahead again and I'm gonna place them face to face just so that I can score 1/4 on the edge for my adhesive. All right, and these will be right over here, okay? So that's 2. And let's go ahead and create a 3rd one with a long tab. I mean the bottom one. So we are gonna cut again 10 1/4. By 7 1/4. And I hear my dogs barking outside. And we're gonna go at 5 1/8, and we're going to go ahead and score. All right. Now we're gonna go and make the bottom tab. So for this one, remember we said it was 5 1/4 where we scored it at, right? So we are actually gonna go ahead and do that now as well. So 5 1/8. Did I say 1/4? 5 1/8. And this one, I'm gonna make it. Do I want it 3 1/2? Let's see, 3 1/2. Yep, we can do 3 1/2. And again, place them face to face. And now for this portion, I'm gonna put the adhesive again on the edges. You can put it, if you want, just put the adhesive on the bottom. I just don't like to limit the space that I have, like as far as the depth of the pocket. But I know some people may want to be able to utilize the full width of it, and so it's really up to you. As long as you put a little bit of adhesive, enough so that it won't move in the laminator, it's up to you how you want to do it. You can actually just put adhesive on each corner and call it a day, and it's up to you. The laminator itself, it'll create the pocket for you. All right, so that's that. Now I actually want to put something decorative in the front of it, so I am going to create one here at 3 1/2 again, and that seems my go-to measurement, but I'm actually gonna go ahead and leave this in this length, and I'm just going to go ahead and score it up here. And this, I just want it as a pocket for the front of the folder so that I can put another bookmark there. because that's what I'm a fan of. That's my little thing. And so this, I'm actually gonna put it on both sides. I'm gonna score it on both sides. And I'm going to create another one for the other folder. This part is fun. You can play with the colors, you can play with the patterns, and I like to do this even when I do my Puerto Rican theme. I usually just try to stay a little tropical. Every so often I might stay, like if I have the black flag, then I might just stick with blacks and whites and reds in the inside. Let me cut this one a little shorter because it's too long for me. Alright, so that's just a little pocket. And then if you want, you can even go further and decorate it with a sticker or, let me see, do I have stickers here? Yeah. You can decorate it with a sticker. Make sure that you do it prior to laminating it. So like that, it gets laminated, it won't get damaged. You could put it on top, but why, right? You might as well. All right, so I just got that there. Okay, so right now we are done with the cutter. Let's put these together now. And so I have my flower one with my 2 red tabs. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my glue stick, and of course I am not a very organized person. I am kind of like a organized, disorganized person. That's just how I am. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put these, and you see I only put adhesive on that corner. I'm not going to worry about putting adhesive on the bottom or this part right here, because I'm actually going to cut this part out, and I'm not worried about the bottom because once I laminate it, it'll create that pocket there. So you can put it like this if you like the sharp corners. You can laminate it like this and then just round the laminator. I wouldn't suggest leaving it sharp with the lamination because it's sharp. It actually hurts. But I like to actually round it prior to me placing it. And I'm gonna use the other one. That's one there. I'm gonna put that one to the side. Or do I want to add a sticker? I don't know if I want to have a sticker or not. Yeah, I think that one's patterned enough. Alright, so here we have the plain one, and this one's gonna go with the tabs here. Make sure it's flushed. See, I'm already crooked. want to put I want to place a sticker for this one, and I'm trying to think what I want to put. Play with it and decorate it and do what you want. Have fun with it. I think I kind of like that. This is when you can allow your creativity to just go. But it's okay. Once I put it in the laminator, it will be okay. Alright, so that's 2. And the third one is going to be with the bottom tabs. I forgot that I made this one for the other one. See, I got creative and I didn't stick to my plan. So this one is going to be at the bottom, so just make sure that you know which side is going to go up. For me, it doesn't matter because it's a regular pattern. And so darn it, my glue dried. Did I put any glue? Okay, now so here you want to be careful because since I made it exactly the same width, what's gonna end up happening is that when I go to close it, it's gonna be too big and it's gonna bubble up. So let's go ahead and cut a little bit off of that, just a little bit, and I'm gonna cut a little bit off the other one as well. I can follow this line right here. Just so that it has room to close comfortably. And for this one, I said I wanted to do a bookmark. I don't know why I want to say book smart. It's the Puerto Rican in me. I get tongue-tied and leave enough room just in case it is a long bookmark. All right. And so I have 3 different tabs now, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab my 3 pouches. So 1, 2, 3. Unfortunately, you're gonna end up wasting 1 whole pouch for each insert because you have to do it the long way. I like to make sure that, oh, hold on, I didn't chop this one. I like to make sure that I go as close to the edge as I can, leaving about, I don't know, maybe like 1/16 of space in order for it to actually seal. But I like it as close to the bottom as possible, so like that I only have to trim 2 sides of it instead of having to trim all of it. I don't like a lot of laminator edges. So I would make sure that it is as close to that end as possible there, and as well as here. So let's see. I don't know if you can see it. So it might be a little crooked. All right, let's go ahead and put that one in the laminator. And so I like to go ahead and do everything in steps, in bulk. So I normally, to me, if I know I'm gonna create a couple of these books for sale for one of my vendor shows, or even just to stock up my shop, my online shop, I like to go ahead and do everything in steps. So I cut all of my papers, then I cut all of the inserts and the tabs after, and so then after that, all I gotta do is worry about laminating. Once I have everything laminated, I can go ahead and trim the laminator. Come on. My paper got stuck, guys. Oh no. Let's try to see if I can, you think I can run it through again? I didn't pay attention. Sorry, I'm paying attention to this one because this one got stuck. So now I gotta see if I can fix it. Oh no. I may have to run it again. That one got stuck. You can see that I didn't pay attention and it was too low. So, all right. Let's see the last one. I'm stuck. There we go. Sorry, I'm a little OCD here because I like it straight, but I want to make sure that it's as close to the edge as possible. All right, so while that was coming out, here, I'm gonna go ahead now and trim the extra laminating sheet. And I put it as flush to the cutting, maybe give myself a itsy bitsy little bit of room, not much. And then after I trim it and I go ahead and chomp the corners, sometimes if I look at it and if it looks like it needs it, I may run it again through the laminating machine just to kind of seal it after I cut it. But I'll do that after I finish chomping and actually cutting this portion so that everything kind of sticks together. All right, let me go ahead and cut this one too. The other one, I think the one that got wrinkled, I'm gonna go ahead and run it through again. See if it straightens out a little bit further. now that I have it here and I have all the laminating part trimmed, I'm gonna go ahead and, as you can see, these corners are really sharp. I don't know if you can actually see it, but that's why I make sure not to leave them like that. Nobody wants to be poked with these. All right, so now that I'm here and I have this, I already scored it so I can actually go in there and make sure I hold on in here and fold it carefully, because you don't want to wrinkle it. And so now this is where the Exacto knife comes in play. So with everything, no matter which one you do, you're actually going to go ahead and follow the line. So you want to make sure that you are cutting deep enough to cut the laminating portion, but not the not go through the other paper. And this is also the good thing about using a thick cardstock, because I've done it with the thin pattern paper, and sure enough, I went through it. This is when you can work on your precision a little bit. So now I can go ahead and go through it. And there you go, there's your tab. Let's go ahead and do the other one. And if you mess up a little bit, it's okay. It's not a big deal. You're just gonna run it again through the laminating machine and it's all right. And you're just gonna follow along. And I stopped exactly where the score mark here for my adhesive. All right, so now that I have the corners chopped and I have this done, I like to run it again through the laminating machine so this portion right here can actually stick a little further. Just make sure that the tabs don't get stuck in the machine, because it does do that. And the same thing is gonna go for this one. So this one we're actually gonna go ahead. Sure this other one is not stuck on my table. So I really need to put my laminating machine a little higher, but all right. Now let's decorate it. This one is done. If you notice, this is just like a little extra tip. If you notice that once you put this on inside your traveler's notebooks, that the elastic kind of gets stuck here, what you can do is punch a hole in the corners right here. Right on, I can do that for this one. Punch a hole, just a small one, just to kind of give it a little room for, see that? I don't know if you can see that. A little room. Can't see that with that color. A little there. Give it a little room for the elastic to fall into place, and that's fine. We can do that, because I know with some of them, depending if the laminating portion is a little longer, then it'll kind of get snagged and it folds it. So we're done with that one. We're done with this one. And I'm gonna have to try to see if this one can get straightened out a little bit. I can't believe I messed that one up that way. But it's the same thing for all of them. Let me see if I have one here that, oh, this one. So the one for the bookmark. For the one for the bookmark, I'm just gonna go ahead and open up this little pocket right here. Alright, and so this is perfect just for a bookmark. So if you go ahead and create one, and normally what I do is I make bookmarks out of the same papers or patterns. I'll make something like this. I might put a sticker on it or decorate it, or put either a yarn or a string or charms or whatever, and I can go ahead and put that there. And I normally go ahead and put that as a little extra. I can also go ahead and use this, like this one is actually meant to be a paper clip, and ooh, I just popped. And I make little paper clips out of the same paper. I might laminate it, some I may not, but we can go ahead and do another video where we'll create these paper clips and we'll create the bookmarks in another video. So just let me know if this is helpful, if you found it informational or educational, or what else you want to see, or maybe you know how to do something a little differently that you can show me. Anyways, that is that. Make sure you press like on the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see more videos like this.